This instructional video for splicing in the FieldSmart cassette. Cassette is shipped out in this fashion. Remove the top cover. There's blue tape or gold tape, whichever, holding down the 900 micron, and there's also a second cover for the splice tray. Remove that. You have a boot, a rubber boot. You need to remove that at this time. Then remove the blue tape holding the 900 micron in place. The 900 micron is coiled in a larger configuration so that the 900 does not have a tight coiled memory when you're beginning your splicing. You then remove the 900 micron from the splice tray. From this point you have 36 inches of 900 micron. I start by preparing my 900 micron. I store 2 full wraps of my 900 into the basket. And I bring that 900 out, go into this last tab in the basket, and I bring it out under that tab. What I do then, rather than having to individually measure and cut each 900 micron, I bring it into the center compartment. There's 6 compartments. The splices will be too high. This bottom compartment is for a ribbon splice. Now that I've got all this coiled in, 2 coils brought around, go ahead and cut it. This leaves you with approximately 30.5 to 31 inches of 900 micron that you can strip, cleave, and splice. Then take that and place it out of the way. And then bring in my buffer tube or subunit, which I have pre-marked to have a 3-foot tail. When I strip it back to 250, that gives me 3 foot to put into the tray. I'll go ahead and strip that back. I just use a simple clothespin stripper. Leave about 1.25 inches past your mark, and that's your tie down mark. This is your tie down mark for in the cassette. Okay. If this is a gel, you'd have to remove your gel at this time. Cut back your stripper cord. Now I have 3 feet of 250 micron, and I am going to tie that into the tray. In our kit, you'll find grommet tape, a sponge back tape, cut approximately 1 inch of the sticky back grommet tape. Remove this paper backing and then place that over the center of your mark. Give it a good wrap. Don't let any buffer tube be exposed. Like that. If you do have any extra, go ahead and trim that off. Nice roll. Make sure it's on there good. And I use a zip tie take it down through the splice tray in the cassette. There's an open slot on the back of the cassette for it to come through. And now I feed it back into the cassette or the tray. Lay my buffer tube down in there. Tight, but not so taut that it collapses your buffer tube. Okay, now I'm ready. Bring my grommet back up, slide that into place. I always like to have the 250 under the 900 where they cross here because there's less pile up with the 250, so it's not going over this pile up, it's going under the pile up. And it's ready to splice. Bring in my fusion splicer. I built a box. I just used a cardboard box just to lay my tray on. Makes it nice and clean. And at this point, I'll start cleaving and splicing my fibers together, going from the cleaver to the fusion splicer to the heat shrink to the tray. For use with the tray, we use the 60 millimeter long single strength member heat shrink sleeves. You can use a 40, but we recommend the 60s. At this point, I've completed my splicing. I've got my splices in my heat shrink, and as I've brought them out of the oven, I've just set them up here on top on my box. I'm going to place these into the splice clips on the tray. They're 2 deep, starting with the blue-orange. My last 2, starting at the top, working towards the bottom of the tray, leaving this 7 slot for ribbon splicing. Now I'm ready to coil up my fiber into the tray. Bring it up into the basket from the bottom, from the top, down into the basket. It's going to naturally want to cross, just let it do that. Bring it around to the other side of the basket, keeping it under the tabs. One last flip. And you're ready to do the same thing with the 250. And under the tabs and into the tabs on the basket. Automatically wants to flip. Now if you have to do a re-cleave or re-splice, the fiber would just be shorter and it'll still fit into the basket. Continue by adding the splice tray cover. Five tabs in all, 2, 2, and 1. And finish up by adding the cassette cover. Once the tray cover is on, the splice sleeves are held in place. There's one completed spliced in 12-port Clearfield cassette.